is Laik. I am trying to prepare a 5-minute video for presentation demo for today's meeting. Apologies for not being there. Following from Roger's slides, this is the landing interface of Turing Geovisualization Engine, or the Atlas. This is the local environment, but we do have a production environment over at Azure servers provided by Turing. For the purposes of the demo today, I have made the tool to default onto Spencer. So this is a tiny amount of Spencer data. We can quickly have a look at the data dataset. 5-6 columns, households being empty, years projecting over to into the 2050. Geography code is used or was used to pre-compute the boundaries. If you were to load the same dataset with the CSV with only those geography code, we still would like to be able to grab those, translate those, but that's another demo. So as it loads, it doesn't know what to do with the data. It grabs the geography code, because we know this is Spencer. Otherwise, it will grab the first column, which would be year. In this case, won't be very helpful to generate the choropleth. Let's generate a visualization of the GVA predictions. It superimposes all the 50 years on top of each other, about 22 regions. It does look like an artifact, but it still is useful to probably hover over and see separate, for example, values. Let's see what it should be, what we should be looking at, which is, for example, 2021 predictions, and also be able to see the change as we slide through the years. And we can change into the jobs, and the job changes aren't so dramatic, so we can still see, if we zoom in, we can still see the height of the polygons, but they're not as obvious as the GVA. So again, if we subset it by the years, again we can see the real change in the job predictions up to year 2050, for example. If you have noticed, there is a box plot which also tries to make sense of the column that we've chosen, which is a numerical, which should be a numerical column for the box plot to appear. We can generate other because the columns here aren't really useful, the bars. But for Spencer and Quant, really the data sets aren't good for such purposes. But let me switch over to Quant quickly. So again, tiny slice of Quant, about 180,000 rows. Again, a hairball, because it doesn't know what to do with it, but it does know it is OD data, and there is no hard code. It recognizes basically the GeoJSON that was sent from the back end, or if it was loaded from the front end. So let's say visualize the lines according to the base value, for example, and then we can see some patterns appearing. Let's zoom into around Cardiff and subset the data further by clicking on any of these, and we should be able to see now that if we switch to HS2, we will see the change in the amount of travel, for example, around there. So again, for purposes of today, allow me to load what I got from Public Health England for 8th of March, the number of confirmed cases. One more time, we will say number of confirmed cases, and it will generate a choropleth of the country, and we can quickly interrogate further data, and this is where the tool becomes useful to say only where there are 1 cases, so we can start tracking them, and the areas with 1 confirmed cases, and so on and so forth, for example, for 4 cases. So let's, if you are still watching this video, have a look at a little richer data set. again, we can load if suitable to the client from a URL, and if allowed, for example, if a remote server. This is a local server again. So we can see here these are points, but again, the tool is trying to make sense of it. We can help a little bit by saying visualize the points according to the type of visualization that are built in to the tool, and say try a hex, for example, and then it will, if we use the 2.5D, provide a better aggregation of the point. And if we also say heat map, it will then generate a heat map. And we've got, I think, one more option of also saying, you know what, just show me the counts so I can see how many are where, and it just provides, if we were looking at a global, for example, or national data set, a much better aggregation of points. And as you can see here, because the data set is much richer, we can see visualizations generated already, but we can subset the data set. Let me just switch back to, for example, the heat map, and then, for example, have a look at the cases of serious, for example, or fatal for that matter. And again, you can switch between these the visualizations and see different patterns of the dataset. Just wanted to show the fact that we can generate any of these let me call them traditional visualizations. For example, if we were to look at the road type, if I can find it, road type, we can get, for example, a tree map of the road types, and we can see single carriageways being obviously most of the 5,000 points here. And I think I can stop there.